Chasing versus pursuing a woman, the real reason why bad boys so often win and good guys so often don't. So the main but critical difference between chasing versus pursuing a woman is in your mindset and level of neediness. And whether or not you feel and then therefore act needy depends on whether or not you feel consciously or unconsciously that your value is higher than, the same as, or lower than her value. The actions of chasing versus pursuing a woman may look similar sometimes on the surface, but it's the underlying mindset and attitude that will mostly influence whether or not you are chasing or pursuing a woman of interest. And when you distinguish yourself as a man in pursuit, she will see you through a more attractive lens, even more so than if you were acting like a bad boy. By the end of this video, you'll understand why women are attracted to bad boys and often stay with them even after they've discovered that they're not that nice to be with after all. You'll also find out what a woman absolutely needs in order to be with you. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Anna Jorgensen. Welcome to Just the Tip Tuesday. So we're going to go through pursuing first and then chasing, so you can distinguish which areas you're more likely in or which traits you're more likely displaying. And then I'm going to give you some suggestions for if you are chasing, what to do to get yourself in a mindset of pursuit instead of chasing. Pursuing. 1, you know your value as a man, and while you're still attracted to her, your value, your self-worth is not influenced by her perception of you or of her perception of your worth. 2, you never take rejection personally because you know there are other fish in the sea. 3, you know no woman is out of your league and you are actually pursuing her to find out if she's good enough for you, to see if she meets your standards. 4, you don't try to convince her or anyone of your value because you know your value. Now, you also know if you're in pursuit mode, if she initiates at least 50% of the time, unless she's very high value and has high standards, in which case you might let it slip down to 30% of the time, but she would have to be really high value and have a busy life for you to accept that kind of exchange. 6, she makes time for you. 7, she either doesn't cancel or postpone, or if she absolutely must, she apologizes, she reschedules, she tells you why, and bonus points if she really tries to make it up to you. Along the same lines is number 8, she replies in a timely fashion. Now this is like, well, what's timely? It all depends on what your natural flow of communication has been, and you will know when it's been timely or when it's been extended. At the same time, you know you're in pursuit versus chasing if you don't change your plans to be with her. You stick to your commitments, even if those commitments aren't with other people. They're just commitments you've made to yourself, like going to the gym or studying for a test or doing something to improve your career skills. You don't flake out on yourself or anyone else to spend time with her. 10, you always leave the ball in her court. So what do I mean by this? Best explained with an example. So let's say she actually does cancel on you. Regardless of her excuse, instead of continuously chasing her down to find out if she's ready yet or available yet or if her schedule's opened up yet, you leave the ball in her court by saying, hey, no problem, get back to me when your schedule's opened up. And then you leave it at that and wait to hear from her. Because remember, pursuing does not mean constant contact. 11, you only say yes to her if it aligns with your beliefs, values, and goals and desires. Now, that's not to say you don't care, but you're just not attached. Big difference. You're not emotionally invested in the outcome. So you know how women, we're always talking about self-care. Well, oftentimes women don't actually take very good care of themselves, and we do tend to be givers, believe it or not. I mean, there's definitely some very selfish, narcissistic women out there, and I'm not talking about those women. I'm talking about the good ones. So if women are allowed to have self-care, then you're allowed to have self-care too. Because if you don't take care of yourself first, you're not going to be able to help take care of anybody else in your world. And high-value women instinctively know this and respect this. 12, you make yourself happy because you self-validate. And I talk about this more in my What Makes a Real Man series, so I will definitely link that at the end for you. 13. You don't need her attention or affection to feel good, and you unhesitatingly accept no means no because it simply doesn't faze you. Some of these are going to make a bit more sense once we go through the list on what chasing looks like, so just stick with me here. 14. You make your romantic intentions toward her clear, and you act on them with boldness, fearlessness, and assertiveness. For example, you might say, Ashley, you know you're a beautiful woman, and you know I want to take you on a date. But if you're going to be stuck and playing hard to get, I'm going to have to say yes to Jessica. So you're setting your standards. You're telling her there's somebody else that's going to take her place. But at the same time, you're also letting her know you want her and you want to take her on a date. 15. You see her for what she really is, flaws and all. And you accept the flaws that don't disalign with your values, that don't really matter that much to you. You're okay with her flaws, but you actually see them. But at the same time, you handle bad behavior effectively and know when to walk away when there are real red flags. So you probably want to watch some of the videos. If you have trouble with this, you'll want to watch some of the videos in my red flags playlist and in my handling tests playlist. I will link those at the end or below or somewhere. 16, again, along the same lines, is you maintain emotional control of yourself, even when she's misbehaving or freaking out. Yes, you're going to handle that, but you don't lose control of your emotions and react. Instead, you respond in a masculine alpha way. I've shared those in other videos of how to do that because you are the king of the jungle. 17, you never fear losing her. Even if you don't want to lose her, even if you want to keep her, you don't actually fear losing her because you know that you have plenty of other options, good options, and or you know that you could have plenty of other good options. 18, you never have negative feelings towards your communication or interactions. Even when she's misbehaving, you think it's amusing, but you handle it. And the flip side of this is going to make a lot more sense when we get to it. And again, along those lines, number 19 is you find her tests cute or amusing, even though you handle them effectively by either schooling her or walking away. Okay, so now we're going to look at what the opposite of this might look like when you're actually chasing a woman versus pursuing her, and what you might be doing that is turning her off or pushing her away. Now, if you see yourself in this next list, then I invite you to go back and watch the first list again and try to do those things. And I'm going to give you some extra tips, just a tip at the end. Chasing. What does chasing look like? Well, in general, 1, you're constantly trying to prove your worth to her, either in words or logic, because you don't feel you're worthy of her. You feel her value is higher than yours. 2, you take it personally when you're rejected and think there's something wrong with you. 3, you hope and pray that she doesn't discover she's out of your league, which means you believe she's out of your league. 4, you use logic to try to convince her. Women are not logical, and that's not how women work. More specifically, number 5, you always initiate communication. 6, she rarely or never makes time for you. 7, she cancels plans or flakes out on you regularly without apology. She may even ditch you for other guys or even friends. 8, when she doesn't reply to your texts, you keep texting her. Don't do that. At least wait a few days. 9, you change plans to accommodate her. So you'll be the one ditching other people just to make time for her because she never makes time for you. 10, you keep the ball in your court. So going back to the original example, when she cancels plans, instead of saying, okay, hey, get back to me when your schedule opens up, you keep trying to get in touch with her to try and make plans. Are you available this Wednesday? Or how about next week? Or how about on the weekend? Or, hey, how are you doing? Are you ready to get together yet? Very needy. You hear those sirens? Very needy. And her internal sirens are going off saying, needy, needy, needy. 11, you are prematurely overly invested emotionally in her and your interactions with her. 12, you are afraid to say no to her because you are worried that that will turn her off and make her pull away. 13, you seek approval and validation from her and put your happiness in her hands and out of your own control. Hint, that's like a little boy needing his mommy. Please don't do that. For example, you constantly seek her opinion, feedback, advice on choices that you need to make for yourself in your life. 14, you plead or beg for her attention, either overtly or covertly. You may even act in a passive-aggressive way. Like, I really want to see you. That's overt. Passive-aggressive would be, well, don't you want to see me ever? When you ask that, no, actually. I know, I'm sorry guys, this is hard. This is difficult for you. I know it is. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of guys do some of these things. So just work on what you can do. Okay, here's some more. Ready? Okay, let's do this. 15, and this is what a lot of guys do. You try to play the nice guy role to win her affection, but you don't make your intentions clear and forthright that you're interested in her romantically. So you do things with her, but you have this secret agenda that she's supposed to pick up on, but you're not actually saying anything. You're just hoping that those nice things that you do for her are going to magically make her like you. And when she doesn't react or respond the way you want, sometimes you act out in passive-aggressive ways, like maybe by ignoring her texts for extended periods of time, or pouting, or being sarcastic, or kind of mean-spirited toward her. Now, if this one resonated with you, then you're definitely going to want to watch my nice guy playlist, because if you're too nice, but for the wrong reasons, then it's definitely going to backfire. And again, I'll link that as well. 16, you, instead of dealing with her bad behavior, you ignore her bad behavior and or make excuses for her bad behavior because you have put her on a pedestal and you're ignoring red flags. If you put her on a pedestal, she will look down on you. Which brings us to number 17. You are pee-whipped and have your balls in her purse. Trying to fulfill her every desire and need and putting up with bad behavior and cranky moods because you lack emotional control. Hashtag sappy puppy, hashtag needy boy. Now don't worry, lots of guys do these things. We're gonna give you solutions. 18, you absolutely fear losing her because you don't have any other options and you don't trust yourself to be able to create other options. 19, you often have negative and or frustrated feelings after or during your interactions with her because you're not making progress. She's not giving you what you want. So what can you do about this? Okay, the best way to go from a boy chasing to a man in pursuit is to increase your sexual market value. But that's not even the most important thing a woman needs to be with you. I'll share that in a minute. But increasing your sexual market value does have the effect of increasing your value because it increases your self-respect, which increases your confidence. And of course, confidence is very attractive, and confidence is going to make you show up a whole lot differently with her than when you're lacking confidence and self-worth. So definitely watch my video on how to increase your sexual market value. To do that, one of the things women find attractive and need from a man, this is not the most important thing though, is a man's ability to be capable and effective. And a lot of guys always put in the comments that, women are looking for money. Money just happens to be a very obvious proof of capability and effectiveness. Now, there are lots of other ways to prove capability and effectiveness, and that's what you're going to learn in the video on increasing your sexual market value. Because if you only think it's about money and you only go for money, then you're never going to know if the girl who's interested in you is there just for the money. There are women who are only interested in money, obviously. But probably the women you're interested in are not gold diggers. So if you want a high value woman, then you want to work on increasing your general market value, not just in money. And the true bottom line, and then I'll tell you the one main thing, the true bottom line for a woman to be able to be interested in you is, one, she's ready for you or a relationship, and two, she sees you as worthy, which means you need to see yourself as worthy and you need to actually be worthy. That doesn't discount the fact that you need to see if she's worthy. Key point, she has to be worthy. Okay, now you've stuck with me all this time. I'm gonna give you the one main thing. What's the one main thing that a woman needs to be able to choose you? It's her choice. That's the main thing. When a woman convinces herself that she's made the right choice in saying yes to you, allowing you to come into her life, this is why they often stick with bad boys. They will have a difficult time changing their mind after the fact. It becomes about confirmation bias. So whatever we've put enough investment into, whether it's intellectual, emotional, whatever, when we've decided it's our choice, we're choosing you, not you just choosing us, then we want to make it work. We want to be right. And everybody has this in them. They want to be right. And that's why women usually are attracted to the bad boys, because they have these alpha masculine qualities of pursuing versus chasing. But then once they're in, they have a hard time allowing themselves to admit that they made the wrong choice being with a bad boy. Thank you so much for your donations. I haven't said thank you in a while, and I really appreciate it. I finally made it to the chocolate place on Granville Island. Yay! I'd show you what I bought, but I ate them all. Okay, see you next time.